Hey everyone, my name's Abby and welcome to the Brown and Bougie podcast, where I'm keeping it raw, real and relatable. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Brown and Bougie podcast. Today I'm going to talk about one of those random things which literally make absolute no sense whatsoever, and that is superstitions. All of us have been brought up to follow every superstition that is ever been created, pretty much. And literally, they make no sense. Like, literally, absolutely no sense whatsoever. And it's one of those things where you either follow them because, literally, if you don't follow them, you're going to get whooped. Or you follow them because your parents say them so often that you begin to believe them. It's a weird thing, but literally, they make no sense. And it's actually really weird. I think the more and more I meet people and I talk about superstitions and things like that, whatever it is, I feel like every household has different ones, but there's always like the same few. And actually I've seen like loads of different like renditions of them and things like that. And so I decided to ask you guys on Instagram, shameless plug, if you don't follow me on Instagram, please do, at the Brown and Bougie podcast. But I asked everybody on Instagram to share some of the superstitions that them or their family basically believe in or are sort of told to believe in. Realistically, actually, some of them are just practical things, and I'll come to that as I go through them. But I've basically chosen, I guess, the top 5 ones that I've heard, / the top 5 ones that generally the brown population believe. So the first one is the black cat, okay? If you are a brown person, you know that a black cat is seen as one of the most unlucky things that could ever happen. For me, I always tell my dad, I'm like, Dad, you know, you're basically being racist to a cat. Because it's like, you're basically treating a cat differently because it's black, right? Like, that's racism. And literally, he's just like, no, they're really bad luck and things like that. And it's actually really weird. I've got one of my biggest and funniest memory stories, whatever, of a black cat, sort of that experience in my life was my dad picked me up from high school. So obviously this was, more than 10-15 years ago, and literally he picked me up and then we got to our road, and our road is quite long, so and we sort of live on the end of our road. So we were driving and all of a sudden a black cat like literally just walked across the road, and my dad was literally like, and literally I'm not even joking when I mean this, we're literally basically 30 houses down, like I can see our house, and my dad's like, no, we have to stop the car. And I'm like, why? I was like, literally, I need to shower, I'm hungry, I need to do my homework, I've got priorities, because obviously when you're a teenager you have mad priorities. I'm literally just like, what the hell? And he literally, I'm not even joking, he stopped the car, parked it up and just waited, and he was like, okay, we're gonna wait till someone comes. And I'm just like, what the hell? And literally at this point, I finished school late because I had some after school club or whatever it is. And at this point, it's like 6:30, not even 6:30. I think it's past rush hour. So it's like 7:30 or something. And we're literally waiting there. We waited there for 45 minutes. And literally I was like to my dad, I was like, can I just go? And at this point, I didn't have the house key. My parents didn't trust me enough to have a house key because I was literally like 14, 15 years old. And literally he was like, you're not going anywhere, sweet, in the car. So I just sat there and I was like, I never know. And obviously at this point in time, yeah, like if you're a 90s kid, you know this. When you're 13, 14, you don't have a phone. So it's not like you can just sit there and like scroll through Instagram and scroll through Facebook and Snapchat and all that stuff like that. You cannot do that. So literally I just sat there and I was like, I don't really know what to do. And literally the funniest thing is a car came, and like I heard a car and I was like, yes, this is so great. Like literally like 45 minutes later, this is so fantastic, a car is coming. And literally I saw the car and I was like, whoa, this car looks so familiar. And the funniest part was I looked over and I realized it was my mum's car. And my mum does not believe in like this black cat stuff. Like, it's my dad who believes it. So my mum was literally like, so she realized we were on the car and she's on the side and she was just like what's happened, like whatever. And my dad was like, oh, there's a black cat, don't go, like park up the car and thing. And my mum was like, nah fam, and she just drove off, like whatever it is. But I don't know what it is, I don't know where it came from, I don't know why, but literally they think it's like a bad thing. Some people think it's bad luck for like a year. Some people I've heard say, oh, like something good that's going to happen to your life is going to be postponed, it's going to be like pushed back. But I was like, how do you know this? Like, what's the proof? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it literally makes no sense. But if you do know any of the stories, please do share them with me because I love hearing them. They're just so funny, they literally make no sense. And yeah, I literally can't find any kind of justification to say, oh, this is why this superstition came across. So yeah, it's just, don't know which one of my ancestors decided to create that up, but someone did, and everyone seems to be following it, especially Tamil people in the world. But there you go. The second one, is, again, I've heard renditions of this one, and it's that you shouldn't cut your nails at night. I've actually heard, again, I've said, there's different renditions. I've heard that you can't cut your hair at night, or you can't cut your nails or your hair on a Saturday. And like, everyone creates really weird things, but the one in my house that we definitely follow, well, because my dad and mum say, my mum actually says this one as well, but she says you shouldn't cut your nails at night. And I'm like, well, why? And actually, realistically, the justification, I guess the logical part, I don't want to say it's logical, but yeah, their thought process was basically, back in Sri Lanka, obviously, like, when it got dark, it would be pitch black, and they didn't have like electricity like back in the day. So they used to have like oil lamps and things like that. So they used to walk around with oil lamps and stuff. And obviously, if you cut your nails in the dark at nighttime, obviously you can't see anything, and you're more likely to like hurt yourself. Because obviously back in the day, they didn't, I'm talking like 300, 400 years ago, but they didn't have, nail cutters and things like that. And I remember, like, even my mum was saying, she was like, oh, even my great grandma told me that I shouldn't cut my nails at night. So this is something that's been going on for literally generations, but it's just one of those things that, again, literally don't make sense, because our parents fail to understand that we now live in a lot more modern world than they did. And actually, we do have light all the time, and actually I can see exactly what I'm cutting, and if I need to cut my nails, I need to cut my nails. So if I ever do it, I hope my mum and dad aren't listening to this, if I ever need to do it, like, and it's just like you're like getting ready for a night out, and I've just been like, shit, I forgot to cut my nails, I literally will, like, I'll go into the bathroom, and then I'll cut it, like, secretly, like, I'll put music on really, really loud so they can't hear me either. So that's what I used to do. So yeah, again, doesn't really logically make sense, but there's a superstition which I feel like most people know of or seem to have mentioned when I talk about superstitions, because I find superstitions really hilarious. But there you go. The third one is a weird one. I've seen a really mix of people who, say different, again, different renditions of it, whatever. But the one I've heard the most is, if the inside of your hand, is it right if I say the palm of my hand? Like, if it gets itchy and you have to scratch it, if it's your right hand, you're gonna get money. If it's your left hand, you're gonna lose money. I don't know what they mean by that. I don't know where it came from, because I've heard different renditions. So I've heard people say, oh, if it's your right hand, you'll lose money, and if it's your left hand, you'll gain money. And I'm just like, well, I mean, I'm gonna lose money if I just go to the shops and buy something, technically, right? Like, / if I'm getting paid tomorrow, I'm going to gain money. Like, where's the logic in this? I do not understand. If anyone has any justification, please do let me know, because I'm so curious. But I feel like loads of people believe that. My dad definitely believes that. My mum not so much. My in-laws definitely believe that. So it's just weird. I don't know where it came from and stuff. And I think another rendition is the eye twitching. So I think, again, I don't know the exact one, but I think it's like, if it's your right eye twitches, you're going to lose someone. And then if it's your right eye twitches, you're going to gain a new person in your life. And then if your right eye twitches, then you're going to lose someone. And it's just a bit like, where's the proof to say that this is all true? Because I'm like, if someone said to me, yeah, this is the proof, and actually this correlates to this, as opposed to actually the science behind it is I've got a muscle spasm in my hand, or I've got like an eye twitch. Like, I don't really understand, but there you go. The fourth one is passing keys or money across a door, if that makes sense. So you should never ever do that, apparently. My dad does this thing, 100% does it. Any doorway, anything. If someone passes money or keys or something like that across the door, my dad would no, take it, and he'll step outside or make them step inside of the room or the house or whatever it is, and then pass it. I don't know what that is, and my dad does it so much, and I hate to say it, but I automatically do it. It's not like I consciously do it, but I think some sort of pilot mode in my head just basically does it. So if someone does it, I'll be like, oh no, it's fine, I'll just come outside the house, or you come inside the house and I'll give you the money or whatever it is. But again, it literally makes no sense. And on that sort of a rendition of that, I guess, is also that you should only give people money in your right hand. I'll be really honest with you. Tamil people are really about their right hand. yeah, anything you do with your left hand, it's just not a good thing. And I don't really understand why, because if someone was born a left-handed person, and I'm sure there's loads of people who are Tamil and left-handed, big ups to you guys. Literally, I do not know why they are doing that, but it's always like the right side is the right side. Does that make sense? The right side is the right way, is the right thing. That's their logic behind it, I guess. But again, doesn't make sense. But that's what superstition is, I guess. And the last one, but the fifth one is, so I never knew this existed until I met my in-laws. And I remember I was leaving their house. I'd gone over for dinner or whatever. And literally, I sneezed just as I was leaving. I don't normally sneeze. So if I sneeze, there's two reasons for why I sneeze. I don't really have allergies or anything. But literally, so I don't have allergies or anything. But there's two reasons why I sneeze. Either there's lots of dust or I'm getting a cold. That's a sign of me getting a cold, right? So I was just like, I don't know why, but I sneezed. And literally, I was leaving the door, and then literally my fiance was like, oh, you need to come back inside. And I was like, what's happened? And he was like, you sneezed. And I was like, okay. And literally, his mum's obviously standing. So my mother-in-law-to-be is still standing there. And she's like, you need to come inside, like come and sit inside for 5 minutes. And I'm like, oh my God, I just did an Asian goodbye. Like I just did a brown goodbye. Like, you know, the brown goodbye when you like spend half an hour trying to say bye to everybody. And I had been trying to leave for a really long time because like I had to come back home or whatever. And literally, I was like take me so long to leave, and then just as I was leaving, I sneezed. So I went back inside and stayed there for 5 minutes, and then again did another brown bye and said bye to everybody again, and then I left. But I don't really know the logic of that. So again, if you do know the logic, please do let me know. But that's not something I follow in my house. I've never heard of that until I met my in-laws and stuff. But I guess it's just one of those things that, you know, like because your parents tell you it so often in your life, either like I said with the whole like, for me, like passing money across a doorway or hallway or whatever, like I feel like you automatically begin to believe it and you do it subconsciously. And actually, although it doesn't make any sense, you like, my dad is one of those people who basically brought me up to believe that if I don't follow these things, bad things are going to happen to me. So I would rather just avoid the bad things. So yeah, so that's pretty much the 5 top brown superstitions that I seem to have come across or I experience or whatever it is. If you do have any more, please do let me know. I'm always excited to hear them. And yeah, so brown superstitions are a weird thing, but do you know what? I feel like we need to question it more. Our generation needs to question them more, because to be honest, I'm not gonna tell my kids these because literally it doesn't make any sense to me. But I know my in-laws or my parents would, in which case like my kids are going to be influenced by their grandparents. So it's all a bit weird, isn't it? It's all a bit weird, but we shall see what happens with superstitions. But there you go. So today's tune of the day / my tutida is going to be a fairly new song from the Tamil world. If you guys haven't checked out Pava Kadaigal on Netflix, please do. It's basically 4 short stories that are all based around the concept of, I guess, a Pavam is sinning. It's one of those movies that I feel like all of us should watch, whether or not, you know, you're of the older generation, the younger generation, whoever you are. It's very, 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 talks about very common things that happen around the world. And as heartbreaking as those things can be, they all happen, and it's just a sort of mini series effectively. So if you haven't checked it out, please do. One of my favorite songs in the soundtrack is Thangame. I'm going to play it for you now. So I really do hope you enjoy it. But this is Thangame from Pava Kadaigal. Thanks again for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. To catch all the latest from me, you can follow me on Instagram at the Brown and Bougie Podcast. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.
நின்னு வழி பார்த்து நானும் கொஞ்சம் எலச்சேனடா, கண்ணு உன தாண்டி எனக்காருடா, சின்ன முகம் பார்க்க 100 ஜென்மம் பொறக்கணுண்டா, உனக்காக கரையோனும் மெழுகாக எரியோனும், மாறேனே உன்னை தேடி ஆசை தீர பேசி போக தங்கமே தங்கமே.
சண்டையில பார்க்க நல்லா இருந்துச்சு, யாரும் இல்லாத போது கட்டி பார்க்கலாம்னு.
தங்கமே தங்கமே எம்பட தங்கமே, தங்கமே 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 எம்பட தங்கமே.
வார வாரம் அம்மாவை பாக்குறதுக்கு வண்டியிலே வந்துறியா சாமி? அவ்வளவு தூரத்துல இருந்து அம்மா மேல அம்புடு
மூஞ்சியை காமிச்சியா? இதுக்கு தான் வார வாரம் கோயம்புத்தூர்லேருந்து இந்த புல்லட் வருது.
கண்ணு உன தாண்டி எனக்காருடா, சின்ன முகம் பார்க்க 100 சென்மம் பொறக்கோனுண்டா.
சாயிரா, நாளைக்கு பார்ப்போம். இருட்ட போது சாயிரா பயந்துருவா, நான் கிளம்புறேன்.
ஏய், உனக்கு இருட்டுக்குள்ள போறது பயம்னு சொல்ற?
ஆமா, என்னோட கஷ்டம் எனக்கு. சாயிரா கூட இருட்டுல தனியா போயிடலாம், கிழக்கு நான் அப்படி போயிட முடியாது. ஏய், நன்றி கோண வச்சு.
நட்ட நடு ராத்திரியில் வெத்தலைய போட்டுக்கிட்டு உனப்ப மெல்லுறேனே நான் சுகமா. என்ன குறையம் போறப்பில் அத்தனைக்கும் நாம் பொறுப்பா, உன்னை விட்ட எனக்கு யார் இருக்கா. உன்னை சுத்தி வாரே, உன்னை சுத்தி வாரே, மூச்சரைக்க நானும் கண்ணால் ஒரு சாட போதும் உசுர கட்டி கொத்தாகத்தாரேன். தங்கமே தங்கமே என்பட தங்கமே, தங்கமே தங்கமே